And of course, none of this would have happened had China been transparent, since we're discussing disasters. Since last year, we have heard a lot of noise about making China pay for its actions. Whether it was the pandemic or the human rights violations, there's been a lot of talk. But finally, we saw some action today. In the United States, lawmakers have unanimously backed a bill. The US Senate has approved a law to ban imports from Xinjiang. American lawmakers want US businesses, to stop dealing with Chinese factories that use forced Uyghur labor. Our next report tells you more.
American companies like Apple, Amazon and Nike are household names worldwide. They represent the prowess of American business. But in recent years, they have emerged as enablers of a campaign of oppression in China. Says who? American lawmakers. This is the charge against American companies. They do business with those who used forced Uyghur labor. And now, these companies will be held to account. The US Senate has passed a bill. It bans imports from Xinjiang. The proposed law is in response to China's human rights violations in the region. If this bill becomes a law, American companies will have to prove that their goods were not made by forced labor. Only then will they be allowed into America. The House of Representatives will now consider the bill. Moves like these are long overdue. China's actions in Xinjiang can no longer be ignored. An estimated 1 million Uyghurs have been detained by the Chinese government. They've been put in re-education camps, tortured, and forced to pledge allegiance to the Communist Party. Thousands of Uyghurs from these camps have been dispatched to factories around China. Going by one claim, as many as 82 well-known global brands have relied on supply chains that use Uyghur labor. The list includes brands like Apple, BMW, Gap, Huawei, Nike, Samsung, Sony, and Volkswagen. These businesses have been accused of turning a blind eye to China's rights abuses. Already, the United States has banned imports of cotton and tomatoes from Xinjiang. Now, American lawmakers are resorting to legislative measures to ensure accountability from the rest of the businesses. China calls this political manipulation.
China has repeatedly stated our position on Xinjiang-related issues. The US side hyped up the so-called Xinjiang forced labor, and the true intent is to damage the prosperity and stability in Xinjiang. It deprives the Xinjiang people of their basic rights to survival, employment and development, and engages in forced unemployment and forced poverty. This fully exposes the sinister intentions of the United States in trying to use Xinjiang to control China.
American officials have often said that they will hold China accountable for its rights violations, but it is only now that they've started walking the talk. They're using economic sanctions to punish China. Last week, the Biden administration added 14 Chinese firms to its economic blacklist that specifically targets China over Xinjiang. The Chinese economy is yet to recover from the pandemic. In fact, according to the latest data, growth is halved in the second quarter of this financial year. American economic sanctions will only hurt China's economy further. It seems like the only language that Beijing understands. Bureau Report, WION World is One.
WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.